thing I moved to talk about right now, I want to talk about Cosby's conviction, but to me, that might be worth another sit down, so I might upload that later. And I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. But for now, I want to go in on what I've noticed lately. All the videos that are pointing out how much of a joke young Pharaoh is. And I'm thinking, what took it so long for this reaction? Because this is the same guy who I think was 2 years ago, maybe not quite 2 years ago, but you couldn't tell that something was up with this dude when he was believing that those 100 million year old or 50 million year old pyramids were real. That didn't raise a flag. Like that right there should have been, this guy is not to be trusted because he's too stupid to realize that this shit is fake. I mean, you got people on YouTube that are good students, good teachers, great teachers that are teaching you something that you can apply in many ways. It might not be something that you can apply directly. And you have people who are honest brokers. I've bought stuff from people. I got a no pseudo hat from the Amon-Ra Squad. I got books from people in the Amon-Ra Squad. I got a t-shirt from Tariq Nasheed. You know, you got to wear some clothes. So I don't have a problem with people selling stuff. I don't have a problem with people getting their money. It takes a lot for me to call somebody a scammer. Now, the issue I have is I've been, because I've done YouTube videos about young Pharaoh in the past, I get a lot of pop-ups, and I don't subscribe to him. I don't get that many pop-ups from his channel or SETI. I look at them as they are entertainment, and they're not that entertaining. SETI at times can be, but I don't think young Pharaoh is entertaining. He's basically a dip tester. What can I say that will appeal to the ignorant masses? And sometimes his dip testing backfires, and for the most part it's worked. What amazes me is how many followers he has that are not like desperate 20-something or younger females. I was listening, because I get a lot of young Pharaoh is a scammer, young Pharaoh is blah, blah, blah. I get a lot of those videos now. And if you've seen them, then you know why. I might upload one as an example. But I've also said that I don't really want to talk about young Pharaoh. Like, I've basically put out so much about why I think he's bad for anybody that he miseducates, and just miseducating black people in general is a bad thing. I put out so much about that to where when you have these videos saying he's a scammer, I don't really look at him as being that much of a scammer. If you can't tell that this is all entertainment, then and this is where it applies to Cosby. At one point, do you not blame the adult involved and stop calling people victims? How can you call somebody who can't tell that a 50 million year old pyramid is fake a scammer, when then they tell you that they're trying to raise up money for a conviction that they probably can't appeal? You know, you could say there's some wiggle room. If that 50 million year old pyramid is real, and you're going to go along with the fake alien Photoshop babies and all of his other ridiculous pseudo claims. YK The Truth did a top 10 pseudo list. Giant spiders walking around in the goddamn city. If all of that shit is real, then you can have some wiggle room and say, oh, Pharaoh made a mistake, man. He didn't know better. He didn't know that he couldn't overturn his conviction. He made a mistake. He He didn't steal that logo for SOS. He saw it somewhere and then he forgot. And then after he forgot, you know what happened? He had a dream, and it appeared in his dream. It was a complete accident. It wasn't on purpose. He don't know no better. He's young. And I've noticed that he has that whole baby boy appeal. Grown men like Sully Dolo. This is a new YouTuber who popped up because if you look at one or two videos of people showing how young Pharaoh is a liar, and that's my issue. It's not that he's so much of a scammer. He's a liar. I don't think he's an idiot to where he thinks that the Ankh is a womb or pyramids are a womb and all that stuff. Like some people will say the Ankh is a womb, but that's a different type of mistake. That's more of a ubiquitous thing. But I'm talking about when he said the pyramids were a womb. He's saying whatever he thinks the ignorant masses will follow. And what gets me is that there's so many dudes. Like I was listening to Sully Dolo's channel, and this was just recently. He showed this guy who's 42 years old who was defending young Pharaoh. And to paraphrase, the reason why he said he was defending young Pharaoh was because he got good vibes that young Pharaoh was speaking the truth. 42 years old, and he can't tell that this dude is consistently, habitually lying. And like I said, I'm not giving ignorance as an excuse, because this is the same guy that when he ran from that debate, one of his main sources was that dude Robert Moeller, I think his name is, an Ioni tribe. Now you could say Robert Moeller's teachers, whatever, mixed Afro-Arabic or whatever, Egypto-Afro-Arabic or whatever Hakeem Ayan was. I don't even care if his source was a white dude. One of his main sources in that debate was a white dude. I don't even care. If your source is correct, your source is correct. But the problem is his source and that whole school reads Meta Netter the same way that the Thom and Ra Squad reads it. You know, they might disagree on the interpretations and all that, but you get the point. They read the shit. They aren't reading some special secret language. They're reading the same language. And he knows that. His source disagreed with him. That's one of the reasons why they ran from the debate, because if I could recognize when he starts talking about the Nile, I read Robert Mueller's book. I think there's some decent material in there, but you gotta cross-reference the shit. Damn, I'm trying to make all kinds of crazy ass turns. Damn. Let me over, man. Thank you. Oh, screw it. Honk at me if you want to. Okay. So I'm saying that you can't use ignorance as an excuse. If your source is reading Meta Netter, you cannot have a debate where you're arguing that Meta Netter isn't deciphered, because it has to be deciphered for it to be readable. Reading it in his... So, I mean, I can't then say that the guy is making a mistake, that all of these are mistakes. The guy's a liar. And at what point are... You know, if it's a 42-year-old man, it's his enablers, the people that go along with that. I look at them as being the problem, especially adult men who are supposed to think, not say I get good vibes and I got a good feel that he's speaking the truth. You're 42. If you can't tell that he's on some bullshit, the white man can fool you without even trying. Like people, I say it, but I got it from Corey Holcomb, that white supremacy is on cruise control. If you can't tell young Pharaoh is a liar and a scam artist by proxy with the shit he does, then white supremacy is beyond cruise control. Like basically, you've got Morgan Freeman in a Driving Miss Daisy role with cruise control. So you got coons driving in a cruise control mobile. If you're 42 And your props to, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, so I won't say it again. I'll just give a link to that video into another. And I would encourage people to subscribe to his channel, because I listened to one of his videos, and he said something that was extremely Black Power meta. He has a solution video, it's short, and he talks about buying American debt and putting a reparations tax on it. That's G shit. That's hella meta. That is Black Power Meta 101. I put reparations as top 3 things that people classified as black should do to be powerful. And that is a third way to do it. The other way, there are 2 other ways. One is similar to that because it does involve buying up currency, not necessarily directly debt, but and buying up reparations bonds. I got that from a white dude. I ain't got no problem with like young Pharaoh using a white source. It's when, like I said, it's when you're using a white source that disagrees with you. And let's be real, the only reason why that whole debate, they took that position, is so they could lie about stuff like pyramids being a womb. It was a right to lie debate. And that's why they could ignore that a lot of their information were coming from a school that reads meta-netter. They could just ignore that. And guess who's too stupid to figure that out? A 42-year-old man who's going by feel instead of thought. That's disgusting. That right there is where I look at black people and I say, when it comes to being powerful, it's not going to come from this generation, and young Pharaoh does not reflect well on the next. But what does hearten me is there are a lot of people making videos, like a new one every day, about how young Pharaoh ain't about shit. Well, who told you this first? And speaking of who told you stuff first, remember who came out with the video talking about how that whole Libyan slave trade was a scam hoax? Like 6 days after that, 2 videos from Libyan YouTubers came out saying the same thing with a lot of the same evidence. I don't think they got it from me. This stuff is, if you're familiar with Libya and you've seen these pictures before, then you know they're not new because you've seen them before. So of course a Libyan is going to be like, hey, I've seen these pictures before. This ain't slavery. Like one of the YouTubers, excuse me, one of the YouTubers was straight up like, yo, we got racism in Libya, but we don't have slavery. This shit ain't real. You know, and then another YouTuber was trying to gloss the racism, and he was playing pictures or videos. Pictures. Listen to me. I'm going too fast. Slow down, 42 tribes. He was playing videos of black Libyans who are like, man, it's cool out here. I don't really see this type of racism. The Libyans are nice people. I don't know what they talking about with this slavery shit. And I'm skeptical about whenever you put the microphone to a handful of people that are classified within a group that where other people are claiming that, you know, we're discriminated against, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you can always go to a different part of town and say, what's it like? And they were like, man, people over here are cool. But that ain't all Libya. So it's interesting that both videos had different stances on the racism. However, one of the videos, the one that said that racism, I didn't say it doesn't exist. They just said it's overplayed. They did say that that there was reports of human trafficking, but that the reports of slavery was fake, and the human trafficking, I don't remember if they said it was underground, but they just said it wasn't as wide ranged as other places. And the only reason why they're trying to make it seem like slavery is a new capital, well, Libya is a new capital of slavery, is because the U.S. wants to invade Libya. Like other parts of Africa, it's rich in mineral wealth, possibly oil as well. Shit. God damn, they need to stop letting these cars park in the streets. So that's about it. I'll leave some links to the videos I cited, and I would suggest subscribing to the man's channel I think it's Sully Dolo, but I haven't listened to him enough. I've listened to him quite a bit. He's the only thing I would advise, because I am sharing that strategy. The only advice I would give him, not so much on Black Power, I would suggest anybody watch Black Power Meta. It's kind of long, but you ain't got shit else to do. It's like 2 hours. Watch it. Give me some feedback. But the thing I would suggest with young Pharaoh is go back and listen to some of the first things he was saying, because he was not accurate with what he was saying from the get. When he calls albinos classified as white Caucasian, that right there is him being subjugated, because he cannot speak the truth about what they are, because he's into this whole Jakob shit. And then because he knows how ridiculous Jakob sounds, he'll just say Jakob is a supplanter, and then he'll start mixing into Neanderthals. But a lot of people, here's the thing, let me just say this, and then I'll close out. Because I accept evolution as being a very good argument for the explanation of how life changes on Earth and is still changing and changed in the past. You got people, Hebrew Israelites, who will say that I go along with whatever white people say. Nothing could be further from the truth. When it comes to science, I frequently point out how mainstream science is wrong. And if you've watched a handful of my videos, you probably know what I'm talking about. And here's the thing, mainstream science, it's usually wrong when it becomes too Euro-centered. It's just like anything, like they get biased about some stuff. And I'm like, hey, but sometimes they break out of it or whatever. But that's about it. Subscribe, definitely subscribe, and watch all of my videos more than once. And hopefully, because I need you to be smarter than you are. We can't have like I'll put a link to it, to the 42-year-old idiot from the video that I was talking about earlier. We can't have dudes like that. If you should have been able to tell that young Pharaoh was just freestyling and making up stuff that he didn't know what he was talking about a couple years ago. Now, when the dude's exposed for using a fake logo and raising up money for daycare centers that, like, what happened to the 12,000 or whatever? What happened to that money? You know, like, there ain't gonna be no daycare centers, and if there are, they're kind of tardy, because that money was there. And then, you know, be it that he was on probation or whatever, he couldn't operate one, so it was all a front. It's not legal to do that shit. You can't raise up money for something you can't operate. You know, and then here's the thing. This is what I don't like. His personality is based on miseducating people. That's scary. Because if he was just an entertainer, then he could say, hey, give me some money because my YouTube channel is funny. Donate here so we can keep it going. Donate here so I don't have to go get a job and I can continue to make videos. Nobody have a problem with that. If it's just, hey, I'm entertaining and I don't need to get a job so you can continue to be entertained by me, fine, that's beautiful. But his stick, his MO is miseducating people. That's bad. Like, I want to raise money for some bullshit black card, some bullshit credit card on a website that don't even work. So I gotta lie to raise money. Hey, this is the thing for young Pharaoh fans. And some of them are so servile that they've told him, tell him to just ask for money so he can continue to make videos. We don't need all the scams, because you got too many honest people that look bad by association of the whole conscious community. That's why I started this off saying, hey, I've bought stuff from people. Everybody ain't a young Pharaoh scammer. Now, I've gotten red flags from people and I'll mess with them. You know, like, I'm not finna to get my status corrected by nobody. That always seemed kind of like, man, you ain't got a better hustle than that to some status correction papers. But even then, some of the status correction papers really have more to do with how you can change. It'll come down to stuff like filing as an independent contractor, like taxes and real estate. And some of that is legit. Like, I don't think somebody like Brother Polite is 100% fraudulent. But I'm not trying to get my status corrected by Brother Polite or nobody. I might possibly work with somebody like Brother Polite when it comes to stuff that he does with celebrities, but I'd have to have some real money and money to burn, potentially, because I'm not wholly trusted of Brother Polite, you know, but I know he works with celebrities, and if he was screwing them over, eventually they'd come out against him, and that hasn't happened yet, at least that I've heard. But that's the thing, when you got to come up with this black card business and you got to be Sandra Bland on a Facebook page and you got to raise up money for something that you're not about, man, Bill Cosby will overturn his conviction faster than young Pharaoh. You dig? So that's it for now. 42 tribes. How long was this video? Because I'm not going to edit it. 22 minutes and 42 seconds.